Borno State Government responds to devastating flood, relocates victims. Respect for rule of law, Nigeria Labour Congress pledges cooperation with security agencies. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, provides more insight into Nigeria's China 2024 Africa Summit. Good evening and welcome to News Desk at 6 here on Nta News 24. We thank you for joining us, and we begin from China. Apart from the direct and potential opportunities being expected by Nigeria at the national level, President Bola Tinubu's presence in China has equally opened up investment and partnership opportunities for some sub-national government in Nigeria. And our State House correspondent, Musbat Dan Wahab, reports that Kaduna, Lagos, as well as Niger are among the immediate benefiting states from the China trip. And we will keep you updated in the course of our bulletin with this news report from our State House correspondent. Meanwhile, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, has provided more insight into the agreements between Nigeria and China. He says Nigeria also has to work on enhancing its balance of trade by increasing exports to China. Here is Ekemini Williams, who monitored the report.
President Bola Tinubu's recent official visits to Beijing, China for the forum China-Africa Cooperation culminated in both countries signing a number of critical agreements on infrastructure, solid minerals development, power, technology, telecommunications, agriculture, and cultural exchanges. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, who was on the president's delegation and signed some of the agreements, provided explicit details on the scope of the agreements and said they have a responsibility to see to the realization of the agreements.
China and Nigeria foster a common understanding which includes or prioritize lifting people out of poverty, sharing prosperity across the globe, as well as an agreement specifically on the development of human resources. This is in addition to the other agreements, like I said, that have been signed covering media, of which NTA is a prominent.
The minister said Nigeria has the capacity to absorb all the potential investments from China. Also said that Nigeria has to increase exports to China for better balance of trade between both countries.
We should respect each other's civilization. We should respect each other's culture. We do not see any person's or other person's culture as being inferior to ours. So if we do this, we are going to build a kind of harmonious international system that will be better for humanity, and nobody will actually feel isolated.
International affairs and political analysts on the program welcomed foreign direct investments, but called for a diligent regulatory framework to ensure that the country's interest is protected. They also stressed the need to ensure judicious use of the borrowed funds.
Nigeria should continue to maintain very cordial relation with not just only China, but all the other great powers. Nigeria has a lot to benefit in the areas of technology transfer. Nigeria has a lot to benefit in the area of getting foreign loans to carry out its development programs. Nigeria will benefit a lot in terms of attracting foreign direct investments.
The guest also advised government to institute a mechanism to oversight Chinese companies in Nigeria to forestall allegations of excesses. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, Nta News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says his administration is taking courageous steps to reform Nigeria's macroeconomic environment, focusing on restoring confidence in the nation's economy. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima stood in for the president at the 17th Annual Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and Finance Conference in Abuja. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jabrila was there.
A meeting of financial experts, mostly from the banking sector, and the federal government is taking advantage towards ensuring support to actualize measures targeted at reducing inflation, stabilizing the foreign exchange market, and improving fiscal management. The 17th Annual Chartered Institute of Bankers Conference, focusing on accelerating economic growth and development, and Vice President Shetima describes the focus as timely, noting that it came at a moment the nation is grappling with interrelated challenges, but also present opportunities for growth and development.
Recognizing the impact of inflation on vulnerable populations, we have enhanced social protection programs, including cash transfer schemes, by providing direct payments to 75 million Nigerians in 50 million households to reduce the suffering of citizens, especially vulnerable groups. Additionally, we have introduced initiatives to support agricultural productivity, thereby addressing food inflation directly. The President also approved a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities including maize, husk brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas.
Stakeholders called for urgent introspective look on Nigeria's economic challenges, stressing the need for innovative solutions.
Let's use it to make progress collectively as a country. It is, in my viewpoint, yes, bitter by pain, but not a time to finger point. Everyone, each and all of us, must ask ourselves, what role can we play in making this country a better place? The Nigerian banking sector is a cornerstone of Nigeria's economy. The transformation of our banking sector over the past few decades, is one of our success stories. And
the banking industry is not only a participant, but also a driver of our nation's economic growth and development. Let us embrace this opportunity with vision and determination by working together.
We must also note that it's extremely important when there is criminal infraction, penal sanctions will follow. Now, I make bold to tell you with every sense of humility here that we will no longer fold our arms. As a matter of fact, some of the mind-boggling major financial fraud that has been carried out that looked like an onslaught against the economy was done through the banking industry.
The stakeholders are satisfied with the progress made in Nigeria's banking sector, calling for continued collaboration to strengthen its role in supporting the economic policies of the federal government. In Abuja, Abdulrahman Jabrila, Nta News.
And we take you to Borno State now, where the devastating flood disaster, which affected several areas in Maiduguri and environs, has left hundreds of thousands of people homeless and forced to seek refuge elsewhere. Now, Bakassi Housing Estate is one of the designated places allocated by Borno State government to accommodate the victims. Pauline Kujivana has the situation report.
This is Bakassi Housing Estate, which had hosted victims of Boko Haram insurgency. The victims are now being profiled by NEMA, SEMA, and other relevant agencies before having access to the camp for a refuge.
The essence of taking the data is so that we can know the actual number of people that have been displaced from their homes. So that provision will be made by government and other partners.
Victims of the devastating flood from various locations in and around Maiduguri, including Gwenge, Balabalin, Shehuri North, Custom Area, and Maduganari, among others, have flocked to the Bakassi Housing Estate seeking refuge. The government has swiftly responded to the crisis by evacuating affected persons to safer place and allocation of Bakassi Housing Estate. Some of the victims share their ordeal.
Government has alerted us on the flood, but we thought it will not reach us. All we can say, it is destiny.
We managed to come out, and 2 of my grandchildren, I can't find them. We are 10, but only 2 of us came out. We need urgent help for their rescue.
In the meantime, some good Samaritans have reached out to the displaced people with food assistance, providing them with much-needed relief. The flood situation in Maiduguri and environs is a humanitarian crisis that requires immediate attention and support, considering its magnitude first experienced in the history of the state. In Maiduguri, Paul Nkujevana, Nta News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has expressed his deep concern about the flooding in parts of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Now, the worst flood in recent decades has displaced thousands of residents and affected facilities such as the post office and the Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. President Tinubu extends his heartfelt condolences to the government and people of the state, especially to the families that have lost their means of livelihood due to the disaster triggered by overflow of the Alau Dam. While relevant authorities are still addressing the damage wrought by the flood, the president calls for immediate evacuation of people from affected areas. President Tinubu assures Governor Babagana Umara Zulum that the federal government is ready to collaborate to address the immediate humanitarian needs of the affected people. He also orders the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to assist the flood victims. Now, the president remains committed to mobilizing federal resources to support the state during this difficult time. And in the meantime, the Northeast Development Commission says it is set to roll out another phase of livelihood support to people across 6 states of the region to cushion the effects of flood that affected several communities in the area. Managing Director Mohammed Goni Al-Kadi disclosed this while addressing collapsed bridges and roads cut off by flood in Yobe State. Yunusa Suleiman tells us more.
Yobe State is one of the states suffering from the brunt of flood, with records from SEMA indicating 49,000 people across 408 communities have been affected. The flood disaster didn't stop at displacement of people, but also destroying bridges and cutting up roads, disconnecting towns, villages, thereby limiting social and economic activities of people in the state. To this end, the Northeast Development Commission, led by the Managing Director, Mohammed Goni Al-Kali, led an assessment visit to areas affected in Yobe State, such as the collapsed roads, culverts, and bridges between Garingada in Jakusko local government, Jumbam collapsed bridge in Tarmo local government area, and Katarko Gujba failed portion in Gujba local government area.
We'll do our work. If need be, we can also partner with some of the agencies of federal government like the Ministry of Works and Water Resources and Environment and all this. You know, this is government of everything. It's not only the road, the environmental issue here, there's water issue here, and so agriculture issue here. So partner with all the agencies that are involved to see that a permanent solution is provided so that future occurrence will be minimized. You know, like we've been talking about this climate change for a long time, but some of us didn't take it serious. But it's the reality.
The NEDC team also inspected the completed 250 auditorium at the Yobe State University and the Yobe State Office of the Commission in Damaturu, which are awaiting inauguration. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, Nta News.
And to the West African sub-region, where member states of ECOWAS now have a regional strategy framework to plan and execute all disaster risk reduction activities. Now, the document, validated and adopted in Abuja, was a consolidation of the Niamey recommendation of 2023. Kelvin Ehonuaye reports.
Many countries in West Africa are plagued with displaced persons, either from conflicts or natural disasters made worse by impact of climate change. Now, the ECOWAS Mid-Term Regional Consultative Meeting on Disaster Risk Reduction, we brought together emergency management agencies, has reviewed the 2023 Niamey document on disaster management and adopted a new framework that harmonized the response approach methodology with a view to making impact of natural disasters on the region bearable.
Over the years, ECOWAS has invested a lot to all the member states, and I think this continues to be a challenge because resources are limited, and I think also coupled with the fact that to also address the root causes of these issues, it's also very important. So in all ramifications, ECOWAS is investing a lot, and we need more resources.
For instance, at the moment, we have what is known as Women Network in Disaster Risk Management. We have just started that exercise, And one of the states in the country is being adopted as a pilot state that will escalate to all other states.
The framework is to be ratified by ECOWAS member states with a timeline for periodic evaluation. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
And you're watching News Desk at 6 here on NTA News 24. Let's take a short break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back now to Nasarawa State, where the government says it is to establish 3 compressed natural gas CNG conversion centers. Governor Abdullahi Sule said this during the presentation of certificates to 50 technicians who were trained on LNG CNG biofuel conversion. Aliu Tijani was there.
The training of 50 technicians on NLG CNG conversion, which was done in Kaduna, was facilitated by the state government.
Some of us have been working for a long time. There are things we did not know. How is this thing working? But we only work. But today, by the grace of God, nobody would call any of us here a roadside mechanic.
Governor Abdullahi Sule commends Director General of the State Human Capital Development Agency and the Nigerian Automobiles Technicians Association for ensuring a successful training exercise.
This initiative is a bold response to the national challenge posed by the fuel subsidy removal, and it aligns both with His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda.
While congratulating the beneficiaries of the training, the governor urges them to also train other individuals, even as he revealed the commitment of his administration to establish conversion centers in the state, with a bid to supporting the initiative.
The future lies with clean energy. The future lies with gas, CNG, LNG, and electric vehicles. That's where the future is. And in Nigeria, even if there is no future, with the way the price of petroleum products are going up, that is the future for Nigeria, whether we like it or not.
Director General Pan Learning Center, Kaduna, Hussein Abubakar says the 50 participants were trained on installation and conversion among other services. He commends Governor Abdullahi Sule for being the first governor to invest in the training of technicians in the conversion of liquefied natural gas and compressed natural gas. The 50 technicians were drawn from the 13 local government areas of the state. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
Excellent. Now, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, says it remains a law-abiding workers' union and will honour an invitation from security agencies and cooperate with them on any security concern. Now, the NLC Head of Information and Public Affairs, Benson Upah, was speaking with our correspondent, Joseph Otseng, while reacting to allegations that the NLC President, Joseph Ajeru, failed to honour earlier Department of State Security Services invitation. Here is Joseph's report.
The Nigerian Labour Congress had summoned an emergency meeting of its National Executive Council over the arrest of the union's president, Joseph Ajeru, by the Department of State Services, DSS. The meeting, however, did not hold after he was released late night by the security agency, as the union says it wants to filter everything that happened before taking its next step.
Owing to further consultations, ongoing consultations,
the meeting of the NEC didn't hold at the time it was scheduled, but it will hold. For one who was supposed to travel and kept by the age of the chair from that time until the time he was released, the physical exertion certainly must have taken its toll. Secondly, the psychological pressure.
Contrary to speculations that the NLC president failed to honor earlier DSS invitation leading to his arrest, the NLC spokesman refutes the allegation, saying Ajero was never invited by the security agency.
If the police extended an invitation to him and he honored it, if they extended a second one the day after he honored that invitation, and he wrote back through his letter to say, "I'll be honoring your invitation, but on so day, I request." If he did that, why do you think the same person would want to snub the DSS? The study doesn't tally.
The unions reiterate it will continue to lawfully advocate for the protection of rights of Nigerian workers and hold government accountable when necessary. In Abuja, Joseph Otsen, NTA News.
Now, counseling psychologists want counseling services to be institutionalized at all levels of education and non-school settings to effectively address the growing needs for proper guidance therapy for citizens. Now, the recommendation is coming on the heels of the 26th inaugural lecture of the Thai Shulani University of Education, delivered by Professor Bosede Morenike-Ewumi, former Director, Center for Human Rights and Gender Education of the institution in Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State. Anthony Gandon reports.
The lecture is believed to be coming at the right time, going by the global challenges, and no doubt counseling is an essential ingredient for individuals to navigate the present life complexities.
Through counseling, individuals gain insight into their emotions, behaviors, and patterns, empowering them to make positive change in their lives.
With the topic From Adversity to Strength, Psychological Resilience, Professor Abosele Morenike-Ewumi identified resilience as a fundamental quality that empowers individuals to face life's challenges with strength, adaptability, and a positive mindset.
People are going through one stress or the other. We will see people dying prematurely. We see so many people going into crimes they are not supposed to go into. Counseling can be used to assist individuals to be more resilient about stresses of life, and they can surmount it.
And for the university, providing solutions to inadequate counseling psychologists and non-patronage of the available few is a source of concern.
Counseling is vital. I will always recommend it. It's vital at every point in time. Nothing is too small to seek counsel for.
Instead of one to be depressed, one is advised to consult the professionals that are psychologists, counseling psychologists, that will actually revive someone.
What we need for us to be able to survive is what they call resilience. That is ability to cope, sharpening our coping skills in front of whatever challenges that come across us.
Need for us to empower a girl child. The essence that the fact that you are a lady, the fact that you are a daughter, that doesn't mean that you cannot reach the peak of your career. The only thing you need is to be resilient.
The Ivory Tower believes exploring the essentials of resilience will definitely prepare individuals to weather the storms of life and emerge stronger than ever, rather than resigning to fate. In Ijebu-Ode, Anthony Gandonu, NTA News.
This is News Desk Count 6. Here is a recap of our top stories. Borno State Government responds to devastating flood, relocates victims. Nigeria Labour Congress pledges cooperation with security agencies. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bogudu, provides more insights on Nigeria's gains from 2024 China-Africa Summit.
This is Nta News24.
Let's join our sports desk.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria played out a hard-fought 0-0 draw with Rwanda in their second Group D game of the 2025 AFCON qualifiers in Kigali on Tuesday. Ademola Lookman was yet again an X-factor when on 22 minutes he thought he had opened the scoring as he headed in a headed cross from Shimi Ajayi, but his effort was disallowed for a foul. In the 37th minute, Boniface saw his left foot strike hit the crossbar, while Lookman's header from the rebound was cleared away. After 2 games played, the Eagles temporarily topped the group on 4 points, while Rwanda, second on 2 points, having recorded their second draw. Up next for the Eagles in the AFCON qualifiers is a home game against Libya on matchday 3 in Uyo, scheduled for October 6, while the reverse fixture is billed for October 14th. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Falconets have returned to the Colombia capital Bogota ahead of Friday morning's round of 16 clash with Japan. The Falconets reached the round of 16 after pipping Korea Republic 1-0 and losing 3-1 to Germany, and then earning a fabulous 4-0 win over Venezuela in Cali. The clash between Nigeria and Japan will hold at the Estadio Metropolitano de Teco in Bogota, where the Falconets played their first 2 matches of the group phase against Korea and Germany.
And another news hour on this channel will come up tomorrow. But don't forget to join the network service at 9 for more news on the network service. And of course, at 7 on NTA International for the NTA News at 7. From me and the rest of the news crew, have a good night. Bye-bye.